So, having been worked in a film like Kadaisi Vivasayi, you have also worked in films like Lion King and the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Of my Andy on his motorbike going to the field. So I wrote them a little tune, which was...
For a Tamil film, a South Indian film, you had recorded the music in Thailand, where you involve another country's orchestra troupe too. So it is a club of 3 different countries: India, Thailand, and Czech.
4, because our conductor was from Switzerland.
Oh my God!
Whenever the Ramaya character, played by Vijay Sethupathi, came on, Manikandan was always telling me, we want the God theme here. This must be this very spiritual God theme. It's been an honor meeting you and talking to you, Media Rane. I know why you have so many followers now.
Thank you so much, sir. வணக்கம். சோ இப்போ நம்ம யார் கூட இருக்கோம்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, நம்ம கூட ரிச்சர்ட் ஹார்வி அவர்கள் தான் இருக்காரு. அவர் யாருன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, சந்தோஷ் நாராயணன் அவர்களோட இணைஞ்சு சமீபத்துல வெளியான கடைசி விவசாயி படத்துக்கு இசையமைச்சிருக்காரு. மிகவும் பேசப்பட்ட படம் கடைசி விவசாயி. அதுல ஒரு இங்கிலீஷ் மியூசிஷியனா அவர் இதுக்கு இசையமைச்சிருக்காரு. இது மட்டும் இல்லாம அவர் நிறைய கவனத்தை ஈர்க்கக்கூடிய ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ்ல எல்லாம் ஒர்க் பண்ணிருக்காரு. லயன் கிங்கா இருக்கட்டும், ஹாரி பாட்டர் அண்ட் த பிரிசனர் ஆஃப் ஆஸ்கபனா இருக்கட்டும், இந்த மாதிரியான படங்களுக்கும் அவரோட மியூசிக் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷனை கொடுத்திருக்காரு. அதே மாதிரி பாத்தீங்கன்னா, என்ஜாமி சமீபத்துல பில்லியன்ஸ் கணக்கான வியூஸ் வாங்குச்சு. சோ அதுலயுமே கூட ஒர்க் பண்ணிருக்காரு. சோ இந்த இன்டர்வியூ ஃபுல்லா இங்கிலீஷ்ல தான் இருக்க போகுது. அதுக்கு சாரி சொல்லிக்கிறேன். தமிழ்ல இருக்காது, ஏன்னா அவருக்கு தமிழ் அவ்வளோக்கா தெரியாது. சோ அதனால அவரை நம்ம இன்டர்வியூ பண்றதுல ரொம்ப ரொம்ப ஹாப்பி. சோ வெல்கம் சார்.
Very happy to be with you today.
So, just apologizing my audience that this interview would be continuing in English, sir.
Well, and Lion King and Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah. I was just saying them about your notable works like Harry Potter.
Thank you, and thank you for entertaining me in English, because I don't think I have much of an interview otherwise. See you, Media Rane. Very happy to be with you today.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let me start off with the question from Kadaisi Vivasayi. Kadaisi Vivasayi has been the talk of the industry for many days. It's still been the talk of the industry because the script was fresh and it garnered more of positive response than negative. So, having been worked in such a film, how did Kadaisi Vivasayi happen, sir? How did you get the opportunity to work with Santosh Narayanan, sir?
Okay, now this is, I can make a long story quite short.
Okay.
Normally the best way to do it. No, I was thinking of working on an Indian movie that was coming out of Mumbai, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I was thinking, who will I get to really get me the most authentic sound? We have Indian musicians in the UK, but I really wanted the most authentic I could get. So I just so happened to see a movie called The Man Who Knew Infinity. At the end of the film, I did a freeze frame on the credits, and I noticed that the entire production and coordination of the Indian elements to the score were made by a gentleman called Sai Shravanam. Very fortunately for me, he has a website, which is in English, and he was very easy to get in contact with. And within a few weeks, I was sitting in his studio in Chennai, discussing how we could record things. We could record over the internet. I found him a most charming and able person, and we are now really firm friends. But then suddenly, this film came up. He said, I have a new friend called Santosh Narayanan, and because we were talking about A.R. Rahman a lot as well, and I was fortunate to visit his studio. Unfortunately, he wasn't there at the time, but it was all connections with connections. And really, the story from there is that Manikandan, who's a lovely man, who's now a good friend too, he wanted to really use a more international vernacular for the music score. He just loved the idea that a farmer who living and working in the old ways is something that's so international. You know, every large country in the world that you go to, you'll see someone like Mayandi, who's just trying to do everything in the way he's always done and the way his grandmother did it. And there's something really universal about that. And so on one hand, Manikandan said, look, we will do some, let's not call it Western style music score, but just some kind of universal international style music score, but that will dovetail nicely with the songs that we have. And essentially, Manikandan and Santosh agreed that I would have the role of the emotional underscore, and Santosh would write and produce the songs, which he, of course, did with the very able help of Sai Shravanam. So that's how it worked out. We were in Thailand actually at this time. Both Manikandan and Santosh came over to Thailand to meet us. We have a very good studio. And so that's my long story. I'm sorry, remaining a long story, not becoming short.
So when I went through the potted biography, I came to know that the recording had happened in Thailand, and you had involved the film orchestra from Prague, which is the capital of Czech Republic. That's truly insane, sir. For a Tamil film, a South Indian film, you had recorded the music in Thailand, where you involve another country's orchestra troupe too. So it is a club of 3 different countries: India, Thailand, and Czech.
4, because our conductor was from Switzerland.
Oh my God.
Midyarane, for a long time, all film music outside the Indian film industry was either recorded in Los Angeles or London. But in recent times, so many independent movie makers cannot afford the prices of Los Angeles and may be able to afford the prices of London, but it will only get them a small orchestra, the money they have, not a big one. So Europe and Eastern Europe in particular have become very popular places to go and record film scores. And these orchestras have become really very good at it now, that with COVID, the whole world has needed entertainment, comfort, and all the comfort and encouragement that comes from entertainment. I mean, Netflix has internationally been a lifesaver for so many people. And to be able to keep the whole industry going for those 2 years, yes, okay, we sat and we watched an orchestra in Prague, all wearing the masks and all sitting 2 yards from each other, 2 meters from each other, but it all got done, and that's been fantastic. Because imagine if through COVID, no movies got made, no TV got made, no music got made. Thank heavens that we all managed to keep going. But I had a long talk with Manikandan recently. He's always so shy about his English. Actually, he speaks English pretty well. I think his shyness about that is unjustified. But he's so pleased because it was a controversial decision from him to use Western style and a Western composer and Western style. I mean, I don't consider myself Western or Western style. I mean, I see a movie, I connect with it. I don't feel Western, I must say. I've loved Indian music for decades and decades. So the film is funny, it's sad, it's ironic, it's got some biting satire in there. It maps your emotions like the countryside that it portrays. And he was so happy that it had the desired effect. And I think he felt really vindicated in choosing the way that he did it. I don't think he was looking in any way for international recognition or prizes at film festivals. He just thought, I think this will work for everybody. And I tell you what, when I first saw the film, it was before there were any subtitles. And, I completely fell in love with the film even before I understood a word of it. There's so much that's made clear in the visuals. Like the wonderful scene when my Andy is going to buy the seeds for his new crop.
Hybrid விதை வெள்ளக்காரன் கண்டுபிடிச்சது பழத்துல விதை இருக்காது அவனுக்கு மாட்டு எப்படி விதை அடைச்சு.
And the guy who's selling, he says, well, I don't know these just come from a big international company, and these are amazing seeds because you plant them and they make a plant that has no seeds, and you see the packet of seeds, and my Andy says, well, I hope that if you have a boy, then that boy will have no seeds, and that will be the end of it. You can see from all the translation that it's very, very funny.
அந்த விதை கண்டுபிடிச்சவனுக்கு ஆம்பளை பிறந்து விதை கொட்டை இல்லாம இருந்தா அப்ப தெரியும் அவனுக்கு அறிவு.
And he says, how much? 300 rupees and what, 12 seeds? Are you mad? I'll go to the market. And there's so much of that that's easy to understand. It's so honest. There's fantastic. This guy doesn't know how to be anything other than completely honest. And frankly, the way he does things, which is the old way, in terms of also connecting with religion, tradition, and even though he was accused of killing some peacocks, which he didn't do, this guy doesn't do any harm to anybody. All he does is feed people in a really good, holistic way. I love the way that he just sticks to his ways, which are the correct ways. And, they are the past, but they're also the future, because we all have to go back to being like that, or the world is in serious peril. If I go to my local supermarket, I'm really sad to say that everything is covered in plastic because people don't want to have to decide whether they're going to eat it tonight or eat it next weekend, or just forget to eat it and end up throwing it away. So they throw away the food and they throw away the plastic. And this is not a good world. I prefer my Andy's world very much. It's much more sustainable. And I think it was an incredible performance by the late and very sadly lamented Andy, who was just, you couldn't take your eyes off him for the whole film. Everything he did was just amazing. And well, the whole cast of the movie did fantastically well. But for someone who's not a professional actor, he's absolutely spellbinding.
Okay, so being a musician, like an international musician, you have understood the exact script of the film and the nuances involved in the film. But was it difficult to explain it to other instrumentists and musicians as well? Because you have conducted the recording in Thailand, and you have involved instrumentist and a conductor from Switzerland and musicians from Prague. So was it very difficult to explain the actual originality of the cultural music to them, sir?
No, not really. I heard a story from a musician friend of mine who'd taken his group, classical music group from London, and he went to India to play concerts, and they lost their suitcase containing all their music scores. And he got to the theatre and they said, oh, I'm sorry, we can't play. We lost our music. And they were being looked after by a very respected Indian pandit who said, oh, well, this is the music of the West. Without your music, you cannot play. In India, we don't need music, and losing music score will never be a problem for us. And they said, yeah, well, that's a really interesting thought, isn't it? But actually for us, because, well, we have to do everything quickly and we need instant results, but we need the right results. So we have a saying, it's all on the page. When you write music, you send messages to the musicians all the time. You say, become more warm here, become more cold here. Play this very quietly, but with some excitement. And also the conductor will do this. And the conductor tells people exactly what to do. And actually, when these musicians play it for the first time, it should be nearly perfect. By the time you play it for the second time, you know that you're covered for everything. But that's just the way we do things. You write the music, you write it down, and the players interpret all the directions that they get. And given that at no point did Manikandan say to me, try to sound Indian. And he said to me, Richard, I know that you play Indian instruments, but please don't play them. If we need that sound, we have the guys here who will be playing in other parts of the score and have played on other films. Let us add that. So I said, okay, I will make sure everything I do will be at the right pitch and in the right key for you to add Indian music elements when you want to. But we didn't have to take anyone here out of their comfort zone because they were doing what they normally do. But the fact is, I think that everyone watches international movies now. And so wherever you are in the world, this is odd because film music should be subliminal. Film music should affect you emotionally without you really even knowing you're listening to it. So it's a special kind of language which kind of goes into your subconscious. And this has taken 100 years of film music for everyone to really understand this language. But I would say that now everyone in the world understands this language. So, I wasn't being asked to do anything more than love the film, which I did, and score the film with the same kind of love and care that I would do for any other movie that I loved, which I did. So it wasn't that difficult to do. We didn't have a very big budget, so we had to do it. We recorded all the orchestral score in 1 4-hour session. And I know that the players in Mumbai and Chennai work very fast too. So yeah, we did it quickly, and the quality was good enough. I'm going to release this score, so it will be on Spotify, and people will be able to log on to Spotify and listen to it because I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of it, and I look forward to my next opportunity.
Yes, sir. So why didn't you involve any instrumentist from India, sir?
Because that wasn't my role. I mean, I did, I love to play the bansuri, the big one like this, but I didn't use this one because I will leave that for the very fine player from Chennai. But I also love to play the street bansuri, and I played the tune. And Manikandan was very happy that I should play that, and I was very happy to do it too. So yes, and also we were talking about this South American composer Gustavo Santaolalla, who's very, very influential. He's scored series like Narcos and the Motorcycle Diaries, which was the story of Che Guevara. But I know the mandolin is very popular in southern India, but it's normally an electric instrument. But this is a kind of South American mandolin. And Manikandan loved the idea of the... To him, that's the sound of the fields. That's the sound of of my Andy on his motorbike going to the field. So I wrote them a little tune, which is... And that melody comes in every time that my Andy is going between the courthouse and back to his rice fields, because his rice is dying, because nobody is watering his rice, or people are putting some modern fertilizer on it, which will kill it. And so that tune becomes his tune later in the film. And I mean, the string orchestra was more to do with the spiritual and religious traditions of the film. I mean, it's sort of spiritual in a way that it goes beyond earthly traditions, if you see what I mean. And actually an orchestra is a very good way of doing that. But so yes, I did play quite a bit, and I worked with a few musicians in Thailand to help with that element of things as well. But I knew that Santosh would come along and use the spaces that I'd left to add some, maybe some harmonium, a little bit of big bansuri, some tabla or some mridangam or something like that. So I knew they would use the spaces. I didn't want to kind of interfere with that really, because I respected the way they wanted to, give me my role and retain their role. But it was all really good fun to do, of course.
Followed by this, I was about to ask you a question regarding this only, sir, because it is this film is a collaborative work of two people. One is you, and the other is Santosh Narayanan, sir. While we talk about music, so there might be two perceptions, there might be compromises, there might be contradictions too. So there should be balance and equity in the composition of music, sir. So I was about to ask how well was Santosh Narayanan, sir, or like I want you to explain the collaborative process of the music composition. Was it very amicable, or was it argumentative, or how was it, sir?
Oh, well, the collaboration was not that intense. It wouldn't be argumentative, because I think we sort of understood. We became very good friends very quickly, but also we understood what Manikandan was looking for. But in a sense, most of the movie, we just divided between, this is my job, this is my area of the movie, this is your area of the movie. But there were some parts where we said that why don't we both try this section and we'll see which one works best. Because I didn't always get the nuance of what was needed. Whenever the Ramaya character played by Vijay Sethupathi came on, Manikandan was always telling me, we want the God theme here. This must be the very spiritual God theme. So I thought this was going to be quite serious and quite up and like up in the clouds. And I didn't really get it. And, we didn't spend that amount of time together that it was really possible to explain. And then in the end, Santosh took over that cue, or that theme, and actually what he came up with was much more fun. And I just simply hadn't understood that even though it was the God theme, it was still fun. And, one must never forget where you're dealing with India, there's always going to be some fun, around the corner. And so never ruled it out. But there was another area when Manikandan asked me to perhaps work on a theme for when my Andy was in prison, in jail, and he was looking out and seeing the moon and thinking about his crops and so on. And Santosh tried that one, but actually I just had a solo cello playing these very sad long notes. And Manikandan said, yeah, actually that's perfect. Because it's not really about my Andy, it's about his environment. It's about the fact that he's in a concrete cage. And he couldn't find a way of having Indian instruments expressing how it is to be in a concrete cage. But actually our cello can do that somehow. Also it seems. Actually, it was a very, very nice collaboration. I wish all collaborations were like that.
Okay. Previously, you had extended your support to Enjaami too, right? Enjaami.
Oh yes. Well, this was Santosh's stepdaughter.
Yeah.
And she's so lovely, and that's an amazing production. I think that was worked on in Thailand as well. Funny enough, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I know it's been a really huge hit. But what a nice and what a talented family.
Yes.
Yes, we had a friend. I have a friend called Chris Craker, who Santosh also met through Sai Shravanam, and Chris, with his studio in very top end studio in Thailand, he helped produce and actually to market that song, and was really helpful in creating the huge success that song has enjoyed. So it's been a wonderful little collaboration, a sort of not even a triangle, it's a sort of quadrangle, because we have Santosh, Sai Shravanam, Chris Craker, the UK producer in Thailand, and myself. So that's a nice little four musketeers, really. I mean, I think that Kadaisi Vivasayi needs to do the whole festival circuit in the world. If it does, it will win awards.
So who will be your favorite actor?
But I also think that our friend Vijay Sethupathi is pretty special too.